Okay, Internet. It looks like we're live. And this is Bruce and Janet with a guy, a girl, and a movie. Episode 9.
Oops, sorry.
the, the Raid from
Sure.
2011. It's an Indonesian movie. And it was bought by Sony Pictures Classics and published by them for Western audiences and put out in theaters in 2012. So this is a martial arts action film, and it's directed by a man by the name of a Welsh man by the name of Gareth Evans, and he did a movie in 2009 called Meranatu, which that is now the name of the publishing house that he heads up, Meranatu Films. This movie has Aiko Oasis, Ananda George, Ray Sadapi, and Donny Alamsyah, which you don't know who those are unless you watch a lot of Indonesian and Oriental films. Got Joe Talsim from Fast and Furious Part 7, and Jahan Ruhian. Now, an interesting piece is that before we start this movie, you might have seen these characters in The Force Awakens in 2014 because George Lucas thought they were that good to be on screen with each other in an action scene. They should be involved in an action scene in another movie. But Disney screwed that up and they said, oh, it's Oriental people, we'll tokenize it. And so they put them in a scene with a tentacle monster. I didn't write this shit. I'm just telling you what happened.
I guess I don't remember seeing that in the movie.
It's at the very beginning of The Force Awakens, and Han and Rey are on this big ship looking for the Millennium, or she's got the Millennium Falcon. Han's looking for it, and they all find it. They all find each other, and the Indonesian people pop in, and they start talking about various things about how there's a money and a debt owed, and something's going to have to happen. And then this creature gets loose, and it's a very stupid scene because you think, well, you're in trouble. And then another thing happens. Oh, you're really in trouble. And another thing happens. Oh, gosh, you're really in trouble. And if you saw those people in the movie The Force Awakens, this is a much better movie to watch because you get to see their various acting and their physical abilities.
Yes. Definitely have physical abilities for sure. They're very, very good.
You'd never heard of this movie, had you?
No. But when I was reading about it, trying to figure out why I hadn't seen it, it basically said that it was basically in the film festival and stuff. It really wasn't,
I believe brought it over here in 11 after it was released overseas, and they brought it over here for the South by Southwest and a few other Toronto Film Festival or something like that. And everybody that watched it, go ahead.
You know how rated R movies are like pushed to the back or whatever, and only showed late at night and things like that. So I think a few things like that is probably one reason why I never did get to watch it, because of its rating and things like that. And I just don't think it was promoted. It probably could have been if it had been. If they had made this movie and used it with the English, words in it, without having to do subtitles or whatever, or dubbing, I think it would have been way more successful than it was. But it is like a cult movie because when I looked it up, all the ratings were really high because men would go back and watch it over and over again and I can see why. I'm a woman, and but I love karate and any type of martial arts with swords, and the guns and stuff just added a little extra oomph to it for me, with the sound of the guns just going off and bullets and windows shattering, and that one scene where they're in the vehicle and you see the one guy die and the other guy's just he freaks out. You know, he knows he's about to die, and those four guys are walking towards the vehicle, just filling the whole vehicle and look like Swiss cheese after it was over with. I mean, that was just kick butt. I mean, the over the top brutality of it was what was so exciting. I don't know if that makes it sounds really bad, especially with the bad stuff that's been going on in the world right now with weapons and stuff. But I don't know. I just guess to me, knowing that it's not reality, that it's just an action movie, it just makes you feel good to see the bad guys getting what they deserve. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
yeah, and some good guys have to go down with the bad guys, but I just thought that was really good. The whole aspect of feeling your blood pressure going up, and the excitement, you're clenching your fists, wanting the bad guy to lose. In some of these fights, you're I don't know. It's almost like I was in the room with them. I don't know if that makes any sense either, because I don't know why I just get like that when.
They film it up close.
Yeah, and the whole thing is it's very close up. That's what I was saying about earlier about the scenes where they're practically the camera's like right on them, and that one scene on the floor with the one officer that wasn't the lead. I can't remember his name is right this second. I have to get my paper.
Talking about Bomo,
Um, it was
the guy that gets injured later.
yes, that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
Sagar's the
that
truck.
one scene where he's on the floor and he's rolling around with that guy, and he ends up with the knife, and he does three quick succession jabs to the chest. It was so freaking real to me. I mean, it was so realistic to do that kind of close up in 2011. You know what I mean? With the
Yeah.
blood and the stabbing, the sound effects, the way both actors portrayed what was happening in the scene. It was just, I just thought it was really, really realistic. I mean, my adrenaline was pumped up so bad watching it. I really couldn't. I was like almost 3 o'clock in the morning before I could finally start going to sleep because I was so pumped up. But see, I love cage fighting. I love going to a real cage fight, stuff like that. It's exciting, but it's safe. You know, I still feel like I don't think anyone's going to die doing it, but the excitement of the extreme action and the close contact and stuff is what makes it very, very exciting to me. So I just really, really stuff. And I mean, I wouldn't personally want to do it because I don't like pain that much. So at least not that kind of pain. But I definitely would not want to be involved in the actual hands-on of it. But being in the room and getting to watch professionals do it is very exciting. And I think to see a behind the scenes and how this was made movie or documentary to me would be really good. I mean, there's a few movies out that I've seen that I would love to see the outtakes or how they made the movie, especially when it comes to the close contact fights scenes and how they make it look so realistic without anyone really dying. I mean, it's just I don't know. I just thought that part of it was phenomenal. So I don't know if that's over the top or not, but I loved it. I'm sorry I can't remember their names. I recognized a lot of the faces of the actors in I think like 4 or 5 of the actors in this movie. I recognize their face from other martial art movies that I've seen. So, but I couldn't remember their names. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. This is a movie that we're not really going to see like a lot of people we know. And this was the breakout movie for a lot of the actors that are here into the Western world. Like Iko Uwais, he's been in The Raid Part 2. He was in Mile 22. He was in Stuber, Fistful of Vengeance. He was in Snake Eyes as a Hard Master, which that was a shit movie.
I think I saw the other one that you said right before Snake Eyes.
Mile 22.
No, the other one. Fists of Vengeance or something.
Fistful of Vengeance.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. I'd have to.
That one there just came out, I think.
I think I've seen that one. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really good at remembering all the names of the movies and stuff, but if it's got some good scenes in, I'll remember if someone's talking about it because that kind of stuff. You know, even that one Steven Seagal movie where he put the two pool balls in that one sock. He beat those guys with the balls from the pool table. That was pretty freaking awesome. But see, I thought Steven Seagal was kick butt when it came to fight scenes and stuff too. So that's probably why he was so popular. Is it wasn't so much that his acting was good; it was the fact that he was believable when he fought, just like Chuck Norris. You know, if they're good at what they're doing when they're putting their hands on other people, even though you know it isn't, they're not really hitting each other. That it's, I don't know, just something very entertaining to me in that aspect of it, of any of those fighters or movie fighters. And that, what was his name? Mad Dog. I just
Yeah.
thought he was freaking awesome. But he's carrying that dead guy up the elevator or whatever to turn into his big boss. That whole scene leading up to that, now that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, was that whole thing leading up to knowing that at least I'm showing up with something. You know what I mean? And I thought that was really good because you could tell his character seemed like the perfect pet for a crime boss or something because he knew exactly what to do to please his boss. And I just thought that was really awesome. That whole scene was really good.
Yeah, the start of the movie, there's a lot of things in this movie that it. I'll first say that the movie cost them roughly 100 or about $1 million American dollars,
Mm-hmm.
and they made about 5 million back, not including DVD sales, not including rentals on streaming and such. But it's one of those movies that when it came out, like I was made aware of it because I have a friend that at the time when he was living here, he was always on the cusp of what was new, what's the big thing coming out, what's the new thing I need to be excited about. And Frank was really good with that. He was amazing with, hey, what's the new thing I need to be excited about? And he knew it. He knew what I wanted. And he says, you need to see this movie. And I'm like, when's it come out? And he's like, we don't know. I'm like, well, where's it at? Where's it from? He's like, it's from Indonesia. And then finally we heard in 2012 that it got picked up by Sony. And that made us really happy because then it would see at least a week over here. I was in Corpus. Bless you. Bless you. So it got for viewing. We got to see it for a week. Oh fuck! Whoops! Looks like we got the porn bots. Oh, my new subscribers have arrived.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
They just
hold on.
like you. Do they do this on your other streams too, or is it just the one I'm on?
No. They're report for child abuse. There we go. Yep. And let's see. Edit video.
F Tinder.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey guys.
And it's all done by computers?
What?
It's all done with computers?
What?
The bots.
Yeah, these bots.
Oh, that's terrible.
So anyway, block them.
Sorry about that.
You're good. You're good.
You'd think that the YouTube would be able to do something about that.
You would think, right?
Yeah. I wonder if they get kickback.
I'm thinking there's a money exchange somewhere.
Give them some time to browse or something.
Yeah. I got a bunch of new subscribers. I don't know where from.
I think that's awesome. Your numbers have really gone up.
I don't think it's legit. I think it's either a scam or the CIA is watching me now because I threaten people or whatever. but like I'm just saying, like I know that that's not an accurate number. That's a lot of bots and a lot of sounding centers. That's not actual people.
Well,
610 from 430 in 2 days. That's not right.
well, I would just say take what you can get as you can and see what
Now,
happens.
sorry,
See what happens.
will do.
I mean, I've gotten 6 new subscribers in like what, a week, in a week and a half, or something like that. That's not too bad. So I'm
No.
pretty happy with it. I guess that's kind of normal. I mean, that's normal.
My friend Garrett was trying to help you get things set up to where you can do your filter on StreamYard.
Yeah, I haven't had time to sit down and watch the video yet. I want to watch it on my PC, not on my iPad, so I
Sure.
can try to, do that. But I went on my trip and everything. So today was my first day where, I was trying to clean up some of that mess, and then I had to go grocery shopping. I've been unpacking suitcases, that kind of stuff. So I have to do it because that's going to be really fun to actually have a real live stream where I get to actually talk and stuff.
I'm
That's
looking forward to it.
I am too. I'm really excited about it. Trying to think of some cute outfits to wear when I do it. But yeah, the movie was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch it again. But I want to watch it on like my big screen in the living room instead of watching it on my smaller one in my office, where I can actually immerse myself into it because it was almost like I was in the room with the guys. One scene that I really wanted to see that I thought was going to be way better, that I was a little down by, was when the 2 guys are in the room with a silver metal door. I mean, we can do spoilers, right?
Yes, movie's been out for
Well,
years.
the two brothers that are fighting, when the one brother goes in to help the other brother because he's chained up, and you have Mad Dog in there, and Mad Dog prides himself in fighting old style, hand to hand combat, basically. So I was expecting more from that whole fight in that room, and a couple of the scenes with the little piece of bamboo wrapping stuff was pretty freaking phenomenal. But I don't know. The overall the whole scene wasn't as good as I was expecting it to. I was hoping it was going to be way better. But to see him die and everything was really good. But and the way he died was pretty cool. But the overall fight scene in that room, I just didn't think. I don't know. There was something missing. I just can't put my finger on it. But maybe
You're
watch
talking
it.
about the movie, the scene between the 2 brothers and Mad Dog.
Yeah, that one.
I think it's because they split that fight up to catch up everybody that was going on, what was going on with,
The guy with the white hair.
yeah, I'll get to that in just a second. The old man, Wehu,
Yeah.
here, Thierry Bruno, Wehu, the old man who turned out to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that the English dub the version, and this is the first time I've ever watched it in English. I have it on DVD, so I watch it, and usually it's in Indonesian language. But when I was watching this, it was the first time I see this, and everybody keeps repeating, "You're not here to do good. You're not here to do good."
Yeah.
Like everybody's seen this before. Why are you not getting it?
Yeah, to the other few people that were actually thought they were doing something good when they were there.
Yeah, they're not doing any good.
Yeah. But I did the concept of the whole apartment building basically being run by the cartel, and how the people that were renting from them had to do basically slave labor to have a place to live. The little bit of squandering money that they were given would be to buy the food, and other necessities that they'd need. But they were all on hard times where they just, couldn't afford to live anyplace else. So the fact that some of them would come out of their apartment to try to help subdue the police officers, that part of it didn't seem so far-fetched to me. But the whole premise of why they first went in the first place, when they were all in that big van and you saw all the ammo and all the firepower they were all carrying, and that they were wearing body armor, it was very, it seemed like a really badass SWAT team was about to go in and kick some ass. You know what I mean? So you had that whole run up, but the only thing is that why were they going in? I don't know. That is where I had the hardest part. I'm like, if there's only a bunch of bad guys in there and maybe a few tenants, I would risk trying to figure out what floor they thought most of them were on and just blow the shit out of it, to make it easier to take the building. You can watch something naked. What does that mean? Oh, while you're nude watching it? Yeah.
Naked. High definition XYZ. Fuck Tinder for cheaper. Yeah, I blocked him.
Oh, is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, he's talking about that.
He's talking oh, okay. I was gonna say, how many out there has watched something on TV nude? I mean, I think there's a lot of people that probably wouldn't admit it, but it just depends on what's going on while you're watching your show. So, whatever. That's what I thought he was talking about. I forgot about the porn bots.
Yeah, he's talking about the bots.
Oh, okay.
I just
for a second I was like, how did he know I was watching this in the nude? No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Is there a camera in my room aside from the one focused on the miniatures?
Yeah.
Paint on?
Yep. Somebody's watching you.
I know.
And it's not good.
Probably not. It never is. It just never is.
No. But we only live. We have to remember.
Yeah, only channel subscribers of 5 days or longer can send messages. That's how I get around the bots today. There's this part of the movie when they first are going in. The head man of this apartment complex.
Yeah.
He gives a speech on the PA system, and I wish I could find the Indonesian version of it. If you can watch it, when Tama is telling all the tenants, I will give every one of you. Hey, Travis, that's understandable, man. Take care of yourself. I'll give every one of you in this apartment building free rent for free room and board for life.
Yeah.
If you help me kill this infestation of parasites. And that was so damn cool. Like, just the way he said, he's like, and please enjoy yourself. But the Indonesian translation of it sounds even worse, and you see the American subtitles on screen, and you're like, oh God, they're all gonna die. That's exactly what I thought was gonna happen. And
it seemed like they had plenty of people or officers or whatever in that van, when they were driving there. It seemed like they had plenty of firepower and stuff. And then after the very first scene where all the machine guns and everything are going up, after they killed the first guy sitting in the little chair, watching a monitor, after they took him out, and then the next thing you know, there's a huge gunfight and stuff. It was like, damn, they used all their ammo basically in one thing, because that's what it sounded like. I mean, it sounded like
Yeah, they weren't expecting any resistance. Like they went in underprepared and underarmed.
Yeah, they it sounded like to me like I was gonna say they blew their wad in the first scene because
Yeah,
they
and
every piece of ammo it seemed like. I mean, it sounded like an actual battle, at I don't know in the World War II or something. Because it sounded like they had a Gatling gun or something. It was just constant firing of bullets,
and,
and
I'm not a gun bunny, but I'm thinking they're using AR-15s.
well,
I'm
I don't
thinking the police
know.
is
I mean,
using.
you could tell there was just thousands of bullets
Yeah,
flying around, and you could hear the bullets. Like they did really good. Whoever did the sound effect thing, and they made it. It
the
was
sound
over
editing is great.
of all the bullets, and you could hear hitting targets, and you could hear the bullets hitting the ground. All the special effects and everything were really, really kick butt. It's just that to me, I was like, well, they'd had to have shot all the bullets that they had because it sounded like a million bullets were shot or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I was like, so what are they going to use on the other floors? Is what I was thinking to myself
strong
while
language.
listening to that scene because it was so overwhelming on the amount of firepower I heard going off. But I also knew in the back of my mind that they were also firing too, the bad guys. So, but it was a lot of bullets. I mean, if I wonder how many bullets it was because it sure sounded like a million to me.
Yeah. I was really surprised at how quickly they spent themselves, and then they barricade themselves in a couple different apartments, and they find out don't use the windows. Don't The windows are bad.
To me, that was really stupid, especially when you saw the two sharpshooters that were up in the upper building and using rifles, and the one said, "Don't shoot him again. Let him howl or whatever, or moan or yell or whatever it was he said." And he was down there yelling, and I was like, that was really gruesome because that showed me how I don't know that they were like monsters basically. So that even made me want to see all of them get way worse than what they deserved. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but that comment that he made just made me realize that that's all he does. He just kills people. And he doesn't care who he's killing. He just kills them and he enjoys killing them because he wants them to suffer too when they're dying, when they're laying down there moaning and groaning and begging for help.
Let them scream.
Yeah, it was very, very gruesome. And that's what I'm saying, though. That might be one of the reasons why this movie wasn't pushed as much because I don't see why every man in the world, that 90% of the men out in the world would want to go see, kick butt fights and stuff like that. So I think it could have made more money if it seemed like they had promoted it more or something.
Yeah, and it surprised me how few people had seen this, even in 2015, just 3 years later. Because to me, once I saw it, there was no turning back. This is the future of martial arts movies, and it really, for me, this was probably the defining part of my adulthood. And I know that sounds really lame, but the defining part of my adulthood where I was no longer restricted by the small farm town movie theater selections. Now I can live in a big city far away from where I grew up, and I can go and enjoy a real good time in the theater and see a movie that you wouldn't see normally in America. And this was that defining moment for me. I know that sounds really lame, but Corpus Christi is not a center of culture for a lot of people, but they actually had theaters that had this movie for like a week and a half, and they did the same thing. They did the same thing with the sequel. So I made sure to go see it multiple times during that week because I know that, all right, this is not an English speaking movie. And even though this is not an English speaking town, they still want to have mainstream films here because those bring money in. This isn't going to bring any money in. And I had a chance to talk with the manager after the second time I watched this movie, and I
Yeah.
said, "Why aren't you advertising this movie more? Why aren't there's like 3 times where you guys are on local radio with the shock jocks of Corpus Christi and the other people that do radio that's local but yet syndicated, and you should be talking about this film because this film has everything you want but the English language. And you guys are in Corpus Christi. You're like, fuck the English language. So you've got it dubbed." And he's like, "Yeah, but not everybody reads." And I'm like, and at that point, I stuttered because I was from a small town and I grew up with a book in my hand, and I'm the type of guy that I don't mind foreign language movies. My friends aren't like that. My friends, they don't they see that as a challenge. Like, oh, I gotta pause the movie to read it. And I'm thinking, no, stupid, you just read it as it happens. But apparently some people need like that extra time. So when I found an English dub version of it last night, I'm like, oh, this does exist. Because I never watched the English dub. I'm a snob, and I don't mean to be, but I am an honest snob. And I was thinking, I probably should have shared this with friends if I could just find my old friends' information. Hey, you remember that movie I was batshit crazy about in 2014 and 15? And they're like, oh yeah, The Raid. Like, yeah, here's the English version of it. And they'd probably come back like, oh wow, man, that was pretty cool. Why couldn't it be in English all the time? Yeah, Chimerian. Reading is hard for some people. Some are just not speed readers. I
It's
get it.
funny,
I
though.
get it.
I've watched a few Asian movies. Um, what do you call them? I'm trying to remember what we normally call them, but and
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was a good one.
yeah, and they didn't have any English in it, and after a certain amount of time, I realized I'm not even reading the subtitles. So I just thought that was interesting, the fact that I could do that.
And at the point where there's an interesting part of this movie where they're still they're on the run. They've been tattled on, and so the thugs are behind them. They jump into an apartment complex or into an apartment, and one guy's swinging an axe, just all manly, whipping
Yeah,
that axe around, and he's chopping up the floor while bullets are whizzing by and some of his squad are getting killed. He's making an escape route for those that are going to live. And then one guy jumps down and he gets immediately tackled by 3 other dudes. And then another guy jumps in, and then the camera follows like you're part of that guy's eyes.
yeah,
And what they did was they had a camera rigged up on a pole, semi tied to it, but not too tightly, so they could move the camera around and point it in the position where, like, here's the actor, oh, here's where the action's at. And then once the jump is made for the third person, which is supposedly the guy that is a camera, that camera drops through the floor on that pole, and they just kind of yoink, and it slips down, and one of the other actors catches it and continues filming with it and doesn't partake in that portion of the fight, which I thought that's probably one of the slickest pieces of camera work I've ever seen. But then 45 seconds later, these 2 guys are wrestling around, and the cop gets the better of the thug, grabs his pistol, puts it against the cheek, and squeezes 3 bullets off. And I don't know when I'm watching that. I don't know where the cut is, where they have the live person and then they stop with the live person and it's a dummy or a special effect. And you're just watching blood splatters through like plastic
yeah.
and,
That's what
and
I was
skin splatters.
realistic about it, was the fact that the close-ups like that, um, they seem like they're really killing people.
Yeah.
That it's like snuff film or something, because
They
there's
go ahead.
it doesn't look like there's any cutaway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like a solid filmed thing, and you see the knife going in and out really fast, and the blood coming out, and then you hear the noises and stuff. I don't know. I was very immersed into it, and it was like it was so realistic, and my adrenaline was just pumping. You know, like I said, I couldn't go to sleep. It was like after 3 o'clock before I started going down, and I think I quit watching the movie by like 11:30. So I was just pumped, because it was very immersive. It almost felt like it was drawing you into each of the fights, and it was like wham, bam, and then it was a little bit of a lull, and then it was bam, 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 just going off, So it was almost like. You're in a haunted house, and you're walking through, and you don't know what's going to happen next, and all of a sudden fireworks start going off behind you, and you start running at full speed, and then you run into a room that's a buttload of people are fighting, and there's knives and machetes and bullets going all around, and you're just flailing through the room trying not to be murdered. And that was how I felt. I mean, it was almost like it was a roller coaster that you couldn't get off, you know.
No.
So, and then when the scene came where they get into the wall in that one apartment, and then that whole scene was really, really intense because when it was over, and the last part where the blade went into the wall and it went through his cheek, okay, and then it stopped. He didn't move it or anything, and then I was like, he's going to pull that out and he's going to see blood on it. Okay, that's what I'm thinking to myself, and my hands are in fists, like you're clenched. My fists were clenched, and I'm watching it intently, and then the dialogue starts between the apartment guy and the guy that had just put the machete into the wall, and so I have a little bit of a chance there where I look down and I see that my hands are clenched, and then I relax my hands, and I'm thinking to myself, he's got to do something about the blood on that blade, because if he pulls it out and sees the blood, he's going to know there's someone in the wall. So, and the fact that he took his hand up there and put it up on the blade as he slid it out to kind of take the blood off of it, I just thought that scene was really, really good.
He
And
caught the blood with his glove, even.
yeah, so the thing is that I don't know. I just don't know how many people would have thought about that in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
Ramo.
intense pain that he was under.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that was a really, really, really good scene, and the fact that he was able to withstand that, and it looked really real. When you're looking at it from the angle that they had it like straight on his face, and his eyes are like looking right into the camera, and you can see the blade like into his cheek. I was like, that is freaking cool. So whoever did the special effect makeup and the setup of the camera and the lighting for each of those scenes, I mean, they had a really good eye on what we were going to see when we watched the scenes, and I thought that was very intense. I just really liked it.
I've never seen a movie where that happened, and this movie had a lot of firsts for me, because there's that moment where the machete's going in and out of the wall, and then you think, okay, it's over, because none of the blades said, oh, he just got cut on the cheek. Oh God. And like when we were watching it, there was maybe 40 people in the theaters the first time. So it was a Friday night. And a lot of the people were able to keep up with the reading, because some people in Corpus can do that. And there was a handful of people that left at the start of the movie when they realized it was subtitled. But it is the 40 that were left, like throughout that entire portion, nobody munched popcorn, nobody was unwrapping candy. No, there was no crying babies. Thank God. That if somebody brought a baby to that movie, I would have just flipped the hell out. I'm sorry. If you bring a baby to a rated R fucking martial arts movie, you deserve vicious pain ever.
Yeah.
I you,
that
you,
way.
you can wait 4 months for this to get on Netflix. Give me my time from my escapism, damn it. I'm paying to be away from you.
Yeah, I thought that was a very, very,
Very taut scene.
very good. But to me, I thought about scenes like that after the movie was over more than I actually got to think about it while I was watching it, because I was like, God, that was impressive. You know, the angle of the camera, and you see the man's face, okay, and the guy down below him, because there's two people in there,
Yeah.
and both looking down the. It's not even a hallway. It's like a break in the wall between one room and another, and they're hiding in that small crevice, you know, through the back of the room, and then all of a sudden you see that angle going straight down, and then you see the machete go through the wall down there, and then you see it go again, and it's closer, and then it's closer, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they need to lay down on the floor, you know. That's what I'm thinking, but there really isn't any room, and there's not really any time, and it would make noise, so you don't know what to you just don't know what they're going to do. And then there's a lull after it's gone through like 4 times. You know, he takes it out like maybe he's gave up because he realizes that there's nothing in there, and then it comes in the wall again really quickly, and then when you see it that it went right through his cheek, and you see him shaking. You can see his beads of sweat on his face, and he's shaking, and you're like, oh shit, you know, how did he not scream out? You know, when the blade went through his face, because if it went through the guy below him, it definitely would have. You know what I mean? He definitely would have hollered out because he was doing a lot of hollering already. So that was a very intense scene too. So like I said, my fists were clenched. It was really an adrenaline. Uh, of, I don't know, because you could feel your adrenaline lowering when that scene was over. You know what I mean? So like you had I don't know what you'd call that, when you're real high and then you just start having a low. You know what I mean? Because the adrenaline's running out of your body after that intenseness for such a good 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It was up there so to the top that you couldn't really come down because you didn't know what the next scene was going to hold within seconds. Yeah, that right there. Look at that. Isn't that an awesome point of view?
Yes. I love that view right there where they're
Yeah,
just
because
painting down. And you can see right here, here's the two guys that are hiding for life, like a pair of Jewish individuals in 1930s Germany.
yeah.
And this guy's just he's not impressed.
And see, it's building the tension right there while he's doing that is building because you're knowing he's getting ready to do something really bad when he's
If
taking
this stream goes down,
yeah.
if this stream goes down, we are going to continue to broadcast and upload to Rumble, and I'll title it something else. I'm going to keep these in because this is part of fair use. We're adding to the movie. We've got no soundtrack, and you, the viewer, have to understand what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that scene. Look at the intenseness of that. Not knowing which one's going to take their head off. You know what I'm saying? And see that? Did you see that? Looking down, you could tell it went right through his face.
Yeah.
That was so freaking. My adrenaline, my heart was pounding out of my chest because it was very intense. The whole scene, the lead up to it, and everything, the building of the fear, you know, sweating. Your palms are sweating and thinking about how who's going to live and who's going to die, basically.
And Bella was just, he's already in pain. He's like, if it hits me, it hits me. He might not be coming back. And there's a part later on where you see that when they lift the wound up, they've kind of got it looking like it's a liver shot or kidney shot because the blood's a little brownish looking.
Yeah, darker. It was a richer and thicker looking.
Yeah, and spoilers, he makes it out of this movie, and he makes it out of part 2. Can't help it. You haven't seen it yet. Message me if you want. I'll send you a link. You can watch it on your own time. But
Very.
it's a great movie. And Janet, you said you had some problems with the script.
Yeah, the to me, the lead up going into the building, um, thinking of it as a police officer or SWAT or through that aspect of it, I was wondering, they're going in there to take out this really bad cartel, because the one guy with the white hair, I can't remember his name again, was talking about how this is one of the most corrupt um, gangs of thugs and what was the other word? Cartel
Wahoo. Lieutenant Wahoo is the name.
in the city. Okay,
Yeah.
so and that basically the whole building is filled with gang members, cartel members. They're probably cooking drugs in there, and he's saying all this different stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why are they going in there? Why don't they just blow up the building? You know what I'm thinking? That's what I'm thinking. And to me, I think the story would have been a little better if at the very beginning you saw, like, let's say the mayor's wife or somebody was at a spa or who knows what, just something, and you see these people go in and get her and they kidnap her and take her back to this building. So then them going into the building, there's a reason for it. Like in Die Hard, okay, he's already in the building because his wife was having a Christmas party, right?
Yeah. And
Now,
oddly enough, you mentioned Die Hard. I watched that Saturday because YouTube has it available for free.
That's awesome.
The original Die Hard. And we'll talk about that at a later date, but we will need to talk about the original 1986 Die Hard.
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is that he was already in the building when his wife and all them were like basically kidnapped and held for ransom, in the Nagasaki building. But in this movie, they're going into a building that's they know is infested. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But why? Why do they have to waste their time going in? That's the reason why I thought that part of it, the story just didn't add up to me, to take that much firepower and stuff to go in when they could just blow up the building, then go in and take out the people they need to take out, because most of them would be injured. Or even just say they just send poisonous gases in there. You see what I mean? So to me, the reason they didn't do one of those things in advance didn't make sense to me, for the technology and stuff that they had apparently for firepower, to do something to make it their odds a little better that they'd be successful. That's the part that I had the problem with right off the bat. So, but once the kick-ass fight started and the music kicked in, the rest of that part didn't seem to matter as much, because I was like, this is freaking awesome. It's like I said, it's like John Wick meets Bruce Lee or something. I just thought it was really, really good. And I was really shocked because I didn't expect to, I just didn't expect the fight scenes and stuff to be so good. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting, I don't know. I just thought the hand-to-hand stuff and the close-ups were so. Whoever they got to do the makeup and the lighting and the sounds and everything for those scenes, they just did. They were great. I'd love to see some of their other work because they were definitely good at it. Whoever was involved in those parts of the movie.
Joe Trapanese and Mike Shinoda is the two guys that did the music for this movie. And Joe Trapanese is a pretty well acclaimed composer. Now, the movies he's been affiliated with are kind of snoring movies like Allegiant or Defiance, or they're not like real ball busting movies. They're like young adult films.
Did they have a lot of action in it? And close?
Yeah, they do.
And were they good?
The music was better than the action. I'll just say that.
Well, that's not good, because that's what I was thinking in the back of my head. I was thinking, dang, I got to see some of this guy's work, because if this was one of his first movies and it was this good and believable and intense, each movie he makes after this is going to be even better. You know what I mean? That's what So I don't know.
Uh,
I thought that was good. But the whole premise that, you got an elite squad of SWAT, basically,
they're not elite.
yeah,
They're not.
and they're going to raid a slum. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's in Indonesia or something. And I can't remember exactly. I didn't.
it's in Jakarta in Indonesia.
Yeah, and it's a sanctuary, gangs and rapists and thieves and cartel. I mean, really badass people. I just don't understand why they even were going in without doing something to the people inside to make it a more level playing field. If they had done something to that aspect, I think that would have been even more believable to me. Because then whoever did survive would have to be really bad guys. And then I kept having flashes in my mind. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, but I remember maybe it was Kill Bill. Was there a Kill Bill scene where they were going floor to floor fighting people?
Yeah,
And
uh,
no, it had Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and they were going.
called Sabotage
Was that the name of the movie?
from 2013 had Dinah Meyer in it.
And they were fighting up these badasses from one level to the next.
Yes.
Okay, well that movie, I'm terrible with names and stuff, but that was kick butt. But it kind of had a feeling of thinking about that movie too, entwined with John Wick. It was like it had a lot of aspects from different movies moved into it. But since this movie was probably made before those, they took scenes from this movie and put it in their movie or something. Because I was having flashes of lots of different movies because there was the intenseness and the way they were going about getting from one place to the next. I thought that was really, really good. And the
I
major
just got a
actor
message.
played the cop, who was the brother to the thug.
Yeah,
Uh, I've seen him in a lot of stuff too.
he's becoming big. He's in a movie called Mile 22 with uh, who is the guy that plays in all of the Peter Berg movies? He was in Deep Horizon or Deepwater Horizon. He's in the Boston bomber film Patriots Day. He's in the movie. I've got the internet right here. I could just use that. But he was in he was in a boy band years ago, and Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie
Okay.
Wahlberg is in a movie called Mile 22, and he's in it. But Mile 22, like it could and it should be a badass movie. And Peter Berg's a great director, but whoever the fight choreographer was and the director of photography need to get kicked in the dick because they made it blurry. They
Yeah.
made it one of those choppy, crappy, blurry movies. You don't know what's going on. This movie here, it holds in the fight scenes. It holds the camera on the action. You rarely don't see it get blurry or choppy. There might be some quick wipes or quick pans that go from one corridor to another corridor, but when there's a fight going on, you know what the hell's going on. You know who's getting hit. And
Yeah.
that's the thing about this movie that never failed me whenever I was watching it. I was just impressed because it was always one of those things where when you're watching it, you're not questioning what happened here, who got hit there. No, you know exactly what happened. And the ADR does a very good job of accentuating those bone breaks, those times whenever somebody does suffer a little bit too much of a hit. It's almost like a video game when a critical hit gets landed or like a knockout punch or kick gets done because like they accentuate that part of the break and then it just goes back to its normal audio mixing. And I'm
Like
okay with that.
there was a couple of scenes that with the young guy that I was saying that I've recognized in other movies.
Yeah.
You know, young looking. He was very young. He was the one that kissed his wife, his pregnant wife. That actor.
Yeah.
And there was like I think two different scenes where he's doing one-on-one with a fighter, and he ends up having some type of blade, and he kind of does a dance like around the guy, with his back to the other guy's back. It is really cool, and that's one of the things that I love about Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon, that type of stuff. It's the dance art that goes around with the martial art fighting, and he had a blade and he used it, and he basically it goes all the way around the guy's neck while he's doing that one scene, cutting the guy's throat, and it was really really cool. And it was almost like if you saw it today in in a movie like John Wick, it would be in slow motion. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it was two scenes like that. And I was thinking to myself after the scene was over, oh, that would have been phenomenal to have seen it in like the slow motion where like Neo is dodging the bullets. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if this is one of the ones coming up. He's wearing, I think he's wearing a light colored shirt. The one guy that I remember, the one I was thinking about.
He's
But
trying to
that
be
young guy right there, he is. I've seen him in lots of stuff, and he's really, really good. He's a really good actor and definitely a good fighter for sure.
This is like you can see the bar down here. He's not even halfway through in the movie here, but after this fight, it almost turns into like a survival horror. How many more fights can he survive before he runs out of the will to live?
Yeah, or how many injuries is he going to sustain? So how far is he going to get to make it? Because it seems like that whole fight right there, that one you just showed.
Yeah.
It just was an intense fight, and they all looked like they were all good. It didn't seem like there was maybe one or two people that didn't seem like they really were that good at it, but most everyone there seemed like a professional kickboxer or whatever you want to put in there, professional at some part of the martial arts. Like the one Mad Dog guy, you could
Yes.
definitely tell he was one of the best fighters, even though he was smaller than most of the people who was fighting in the movie. There was a small guy too that I think John Wick fought in one of his scenes.
In part 3, he actually fights these two guys. He fights he fights the guy that plays Mad Dog, and he fights the assassin character from part 2.
Well, he's really, really good, very good hands-on fighter. I thought he was really, really. He's an expert, definitely. He could probably kick. What was his name? Chuck Norris's butt. He looked like he was good enough to fight Chuck Norris to me, from me growing up watching Chuck Norris fight. Very, very good and intense. I mean, very energetic scenes where there wasn't like a lot of boring pauses in the fights. It was just like bam, 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 bam. It just kept going on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was really good. Very intense. Oh, we had more in again.
Yeah, we might be having more bots. I just I just turned off the subscriber only mode. I'm like, wait, Madge is in here. She takes a certain thrill out of just bouncing the bots. So there they are. There they're starting. Go at it, Madge.
Jeez.
Oh my god. Oh.
That's terrible.
Oh.
I don't see how they can make any money. I don't see how anybody.
I don't either. Not when you've got the some of the best mods in the house.
It's sad that we have to have this stuff happening every time. You probably don't have any of these kind of sex bots or whatever you call them in the actual porn channels.
No. There'll be a guy that comes in on some porn channels. You should probably not be here. You should be kissing your wife right now. Why don't you go pet a dog? Come with me to the the Bethany Bible study group on Tuesday nights, and we can discuss your vices and how you can apologize to Christ.
Yeah.
Mad's like, it's playing Duck Hunt.
Yeah, I've played that game before. I wasn't very good at it.
Hey, multi-gun man, how you doing, sir? One of my favorite gun bunnies from up north.
Maybe.
Multi-gunman and M. Dastardly are two of my friends from up north that have done quite a bit for Canada. So after you finally get to see the reason why the old man is there, and he's betrayed damn near everybody that's there.
Yeah, and got people killed.
Yeah, he shoots Dagu, which
Yeah.
Dagu is a hell of a fighter. There's one scene in the drug lab where Dagu just he grabs a guy, hoists his leg up, and then stomps on his head. And I'm like, wow, that's a hell of a move. And these guys are in really good shape. This is a professional stunt crew that gets the go ahead. They get a green light on a budget and to just do fun martial arts and camera tricks. It's one of the best martial arts movies I've ever seen. And when I was watching this, I thought to myself, I don't think I can go back to my old martial arts films again. I of course I'll watch, Bruce Lee's Game of Death. I'll watch, the classics, but I can't even stand Steven Seagal. I mean, it hits a lot of suspension of disbelief when
Well,
he gets
do
emotional.
you think that that young actor that I was talking about, that he actually fought and did his own fight scenes, or did
Evo
someone else?
Yeah, the main guys in this movie,
Hmm.
Rama, Dagu, Jaka, and Mad Dog, all
Yeah.
and Andy, all these guys are professional stuntmen. They
So,
did double duty. They not only did the acting, but they also made sure to show you that this is them throwing a kick. This is them having a kick landed on them. And so you get to see them at the top of their craft in this movie.
especially when Matt says, "This is what I do."
Yeah, this is the pulse.
Yeah, I thought that part was really, really good. But he was really, really good. He was my favorite. I mean, I'm not trying to diss the main actor, but for the actual hands-on combat scenes, I just thought he was my favorite fighter in the whole movie. And the scene where he's dragging the one guy up to the boss, I just thought that was really, really, really intense, and it was kind of comedic, but dark. Um,
Yes.
but especially when the other guy said he's dead, whatever. We already knew that, but it is still funny when he said it, showing him just laying there or sitting next to him on the ground and the blood trail from where he's dragging him. I thought that was pretty intense.
And then he tells Andy, he says, "What did you bring? You look, your hands are empty. I'm at least bringing back a body." And then after that,
The
the
big
drug
boss.
lord, he's like, "Look, let me look at your hands. Let me see what you have." And he looks at his hands. No, your hands are empty. And then, at that point, you realize, oh God. And then he gets his hand stabbed and his face is shoved right up against that television monitor. And he's like, these televisions are the only truth I have left. I can't trust anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there's even some of us here that we've had situations like that where we've got people lying to our faces and we just pull receipts like, no, I'm pretty certain what you're saying didn't happen, and I can pull up this Instagram chat. I can pull up this YouTube receipt, and I can show you. You know, this is the only truth I've got. You're bullshitting me. You're pissing down my leg and saying it's raining. And it's
Uh-huh.
really sad how many people can get so close to you, and yet for them to just kind of they want to squeak by in a little lie wrapped up in comfort. Like, just accept this little token lie, just because I need to feel good about something. And you're like, no, 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 no. I need this. Give me the hard truth. And I really appreciate the big boss in this movie.
Yeah.
You like Mad Dog. I think Roy Shatapi, or whatever his name is, this is the he used to be very handsome, and he can still look good for the camera. In this movie, they said, "Come in after you've woke up," and they're like, "Oh, you're perfect," and he's like,
He
"What?"
looked shabby,
Yeah,
but
he looks shabby as hell in this movie.
he had, to me, when I first saw him, he looked like a guy that I felt like didn't get a lot of sleep because he's constantly stressed, uh, because he has so much to protect. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And when you're in that type of business, I don't see how you do get any rest, because how can you trust anyone?
you can't.
So to me, he was very believable, and uh, but he seemed like, God, he was very demented, and that he got off on
The pain
poor
of others.
people. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
he said, my life has to suck, and I can't enjoy this, that, and the other in my life. Then why should you? So he basically took his anger on the world out on everyone around him. You know, even his employees. So um, I don't know. I just thought he was a very good choice for that actual character. I thought he did very, very good. There's one scene that was kind of creepy to me with everything that's been going on, and with the trafficking and stuff, teenage trafficking, women's trafficking, was the scene at the very towards the beginning where the main actor is like kissing his wife
hmm,
goodbye and stuff, and she's pregnant. And I was almost looking at her like she looked 12 to me. The way she was laying in the bed and the look on her face and stuff, she just looked very, very young. I had a little bit of a creepy vibe from that, but I mean, I got over it quickly. But that that was kind
she's a young looking actress, and I don't know. Is she in part two? Hold on. I have to find this
of,
out now.
she did look young. I mean, she looked like a kid, barely able to give birth
Yeah.
to me, in her face and everything. But I know that a lot of the Asian women do look very young, and they're very tiny and delicate looking. So that didn't help, that fact of it.
Yeah, a lot of, and we're not trying to be like R word racists,
No,
but
oh,
just
no.
say that, like, there's a lot of people over there. The girl that played Chung Li in Street Fighter from 1992 with Jean Claude Van Damme, the Chung Li actress, is now on a Disney Plus show, and she looks the same. She looks like a 30-year-old woman. That's it. She's
they,
60.
they are, though. They are very dainty. They're very, I don't know. They're very tiny, uh, dainty flowers. They just look delicate to me.
Yeah.
And I have relatives, that from not from there, but from like the Scandinavian countries, and they're like 6 foot tall, very big boned women.
Yes.
And there's some of them are very beautiful, but you could definitely tell, depending on what area of the world someone comes from, by their bone structures and stuff. of where they come from. I'm not saying I know exactly because now people are so spread out. They could be from anywhere, but their ancestors would come from different places. Oh, it's Mads is saying that some of us don't age. Well, I wish I was one of them.
And you have filters that you use. I've seen your untouched photos, and you have a there's a group of men. I'm not going to say where Discord or Gilded, but I'm not going to say where they're at. But I'm pretty certain if you ever turn on your I'm dateable lamp, you're gonna your inbox is gonna be more stuffed than the there anyway.
Well,
So
all I
yeah,
know is I do try to take care of myself and I do try to promote other people to
you
my
you
videos to try to take better care of yourself and that it's basically in your hands. Not saying that as I don't really, if a person wants to do plastic surgery and all that stuff that, that's fine. But
yeah
I don't promote that. I think that if people could just try to take better care of ourselves, that we'll be happier because you're not going to be hurting all the time or sick to your stomach or uh, tired because you don't have any energy because you're not eating the right diet or whatever
yeah
things like that. And I try to promote that, but drinking more water, staying hydrated, and I might say it in a funny way, but it all means the same thing. But and laughter, laughter, sharing, um, friendships with people, and all that stuff to me is very important. For your life and for your longevity of your life. And I want to live a long time. So if I do live to be 100, I mean, my grandmother was 101 when she passed away, and she still lived out in her own home. She took care of herself. She didn't drive anymore, but she walked a lot, and she rented out 2 rooms in her house to college students. So I just hope that I can still do things like that when I'm 100. I want to be 100, but I want to be able to do things. I don't want to be one of those people that's bedridden for the last 10 years of their life or anything like that. I wouldn't, but I mean, other people are able to do it and they seem to adjust well or whatever. But the whole thing is that, I do promote, and that's one thing I definitely jumps out about this movie is that you can definitely tell these people work very hard at what they do and that they're in excellent shape.
yes
Even the bigger guys, there's a few bigger guys in the movie, they're still kicking their legs up and they are still doing round kicks and things like that, and swinging those machetes and other knives and things like that. So they're definitely not people that sit on couch potatoes, if you want to put that out there. So if you're a couch potato, maybe it could be good for you to get up and walk up and down the block, a few times. It might really make you feel better and give you some rejuvenate you to want to participate in maybe what could be like to actually, you know, do more things in your life, exercising or jogging, walking, bike riding, kayaking, lots of things that you can do that are fun, entertaining, and it's actually good for you. So these guys, you could tell, enjoy what they do, and that is the martial arts. So, and that definitely comes across, I think, when they're fighting in the movies or, shows or whatever it is they're working on. You can definitely tell they enjoy what they're doing.
huh. Not aware of that. Huh. Interesting. Shadzar says some places they feel anyone over 60 should be in a home. Man, Twitch says these things. Yeah, the hydrate and posture check and
Well,
all of
see,
that.
that's the thing. Even in my car, um, I see people riding along and they're, I don't know, they just seem hunched over the steering wheel. And I just can't stand that. So over time, I always try to keep my knees bent and my feet up underneath me when I'm sitting in a chair and try to hold my shoulders back. I even have a thing that holds my shoulders back because I do spend a lot of time typing on the laptop, and I just don't think it's good for you. So sitting up straight when you eat and all that will have better posture for you. You know, you can watch these people in this movie, and all of them have excellent posture and they're in good shape.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
right here where he cut the guy down the thigh. Oh, that was really good. Yeah, there's some really good fights.
I was so surprised when I'm watching this here because it just was choreographed so well. The director of photography knows what he's doing, and he's careful to stay away from everybody's radius of spinning limbs. He doesn't he understands the dynamics of everybody's motion and kinetics, and it's perfect positioning.
And the thing is, I'm really bad about watching for tape. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But when you do a scene and they say go back to one, okay, things like that, there's a piece of tape on the floor for certain different colors depending on the actor, right? So
Yes.
when they do these close-up scenes and you're watching it because you know they had to do multiple takes of all this to get the different angles when they edited it together for the same fight. You know, like you might like this one scene. Do you see that? Look at the close of that. I swear to God, that looked real.
Yeah, I
And
thought he actually got
yeah,
stabbed.
yeah, that looked like a snuff film to me. The look on the actor's face that's dying looked real to me. That's one of the scenes that I was talking about to you earlier uh, on the floor where he stabbed the guy multiple times really quickly in succession in his chest. And the actor that supposedly died just went limp, you know, and he was in his facial expression, the tenseness in his face and everything was gone. You know, it was like he was a good actor too, even though he may just be a stunt man, like you were saying. He was really good. That scene was really good. That was a very believable scene to me and scary because it could be real.
Yeah.
I mean, did we look it up and see if there was any actual deaths during this movie?
I've already gone through the IMDb's. Nobody died in 2011. All of these names that are on this are still alive. And that right there, that scene right there, when I saw that little fucker fight, I was scared shitless. I'm like, that is going to be a nasty, nasty brawl.
Yeah, and he was badass fighter, Mad Dog. His character was kicking butt, and you could tell that he knew how to fight dirty, but he also knew how the old ways of fighting. I mean, like what was his name? Um, from Karate Kid, the teacher
Ralph
on
Macchio
Mr.
or Pat
Miyagi.
Morita?
You know how Mr. Miyagi would always say, you know, this is how we did things, and this is how he was trained, and he always did things the old way, and he tried to, you know, the nod the head and do all, you know, all that different stuff. Mad Dog seemed like he had that type of training, but now he was just mad at the world and hated everything. So he just used the dirty side and the old ways at the same time. That's what came across to me. And he seemed like, I think he could kick somebody's ass that was twice as big as him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if physically he could do that, but he looked like he could to me. It would be believable.
He was super believable in this movie.
Yeah, I thought he was very, very, very good. And you're right. The angle, the camera angles, it wasn't so dark you couldn't see anything like I've seen in a lot of the movies. It was I don't know. The editing was very good. This and I looked and I tried to find mistakes because I'm real bad about trying to find bloopers in movies, and you know
Mm-hmm.
something being out of place that didn't belong in the scene. But I even looked for tape on the floor because there were so many scenes that you could see all the bodies and the piling up, and stuff. And I never saw any tape or anything. So the people, the prop masters that would go in and out of the scenes to make sure everything was I don't know what's that word again. I'm not remembering.
They're remembering placement of items before tape is rolled.
The continuity people. They're checking
Yes.
sure that everything is where it's supposed to be from the scene that was just filmed. Because when they film the scene from the left, you got everything going on. The camera's on the left, okay. Then you have to do the exact same scene with the camera on the right, facing the other actress. So when you edit together, it flows together like you're going around, and your its symmetry all matches, okay. So
I don't think they had. I don't think they had the set design to do that for those two hallway fights plus the machete fight.
that's why to have
Good.
the scene from the left and the scene from the right to be able to make it look like they were able to go around them. You see what I mean?
I would be impressed if they had the size for that, because this movie was made on shoestrings.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You could tell that the people loved what they were doing. They were all doing the very best job they possibly could do, knowing that they had a limited budget. But it all it flows so well, and it looks real. And, I don't know. I could just tell that everybody involved in the actual scenes, even the editor, wanted it to be the best they could possibly make. And I think you could definitely tell it if you're paying attention to those types of details watching it. I definitely could see it, and I just thought it was phenomenal. I thought that it was put together so well. The only thing, like I said, the only flaw to me that I could really see was that one scene about why they would not just, tear gas and do some other things before they sent people in to try to take some people out, to even the numbers out, because not knowing for sure what's in there and what your numbers are, it to me didn't seem very smart for a SWAT team that's elite SWAT team to go in and not know what they're going to fight. And then the fact that not knowing what weapons they had in there, you know, little details like that. But I think that could have been shot here with using people that could speak English, whatever, because I would think that the actors that played the lead characters too, from me recognizing most of their faces, that they probably do speak English pretty well, and they could have been instead of being dubbed, because I can't remember which one it was, but the voice definitely didn't go with what I thought would be coming out of that person. You know what I mean? So, and I have met a few people that their voice didn't seem like it fit with what they look like. But,
That's what I'm going to say. The Indonesian sound is what you want to look for. You want to look for the Indonesian voice, but the English dubs, because it actually fits a lot better. Everything is just much better, more puritanical with that. I will tell you on a related note that Netflix acquired the rights to remake the U.S. version of The Raid, directed by Gareth Evans, this year. And so I'm reading from what's on Netflix.com. This version of the high-octane action flick has brought back heavyweights like Michael Bay, Gareth Evans, and Patrick Hughes. And they picked up the rights in January of this year. Patrick Hughes, the credits include Hitman's Bodyguard and Expendables 3, and also the action comedy The Man from Toronto, which is on Netflix later this month on the 24th. I've never heard of this guy, and The Expendables 3 was a bad movie for me, but I mean, if he does it justice, that's great. They've been doing a remake of The Raid for several years, with a lot of versions being considered. Sony Screen Gems Development Hub was the one that was last in charge of it, but that was scrapped in October 2015. With only XYZ Films still involved in the project, continue to work in a movie now with Netflix. Now they've
Yeah.
partnered with Netflix on a number of films coming up and already on Netflix. The upcoming slate includes Tom Hardy's Havoc, I Can Buy, Code 8, Part 2. Already available movies include 2021 Stowaway and Apostle and Q. It's reported the project got a new lease on life only when Michael Bay met Pat Hughes, since they both hit off and both are made from the same cloth, giving their high-octane action ties. Bay notably produced Netflix's Six Underground. So, well, the version of the raid is set to be in Philadelphia's drug-infested Badlands subdivision, where an elite undercover DEA task force climbs a ladder of cartel informants to catch an elusive kingpin. And that's about it. They don't have any idea who's going to star in it yet. Production status is that they're writing the script and rewriting it, with pre-production following quickly afterwards in the fall. The Netflix release is expecting a 2023 release. And I will put the link information for that in the chat if you guys. Chadzard's got some business there. Just try this cheapest sex Tinder.
Well, I thought Tinder was free, so you can get
right?
cheaper than free. And if that means, I guess they also buy you a drink and dinner or something. How do they make money?
No.
So, I don't understand, but oh well.
Anyway, there's the link in the chat if you guys want to see the information about this movie being remade for Netflix. Not that I'm going to pass on it, but if my buddies start talking about how great it is compared to the original, I'll look at it.
Did you watch a TV show? It was called The Badlands.
Never have.
Okay, well, I can't remember the name of the actor because it was filmed in New Orleans, in Louisiana. And I thought it was really good. And I can't remember the name of the actor that played the lead part, but there were some really good fights in that series.
There's 54 titles with the word Badlands in it on IMDb.
I think it was called Into the Badlands, and it was based on 5 different groups that ran everything. And they all used martial arts and stuff. It was really, really good. And they grew opium, poppies or whatever.
Yeah, this is a 2015 series.
Yeah.
You can watch it on Netflix, season 1, season 3 with subscription.
Mm-hmm. And the actor that had the lead in it, he was really, really good, very talented. So
Danny Wu.
Yeah, he was very good. So I'm just saying, if he's young enough to play the part of that one thing, I think he would do a really good job as an actor for that series. And he's looking and stuff.
It is really weird because I'm checking out players from this movie or series called Into the Badlands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, this guy was born in 1999. I was 24 at the time. Yeah, I'm getting old.
Well, we all are, so don't feel bad about it. We can't stay young forever.
I really enjoyed it, though. I did good young. I really did. I like the young thing. I really enjoyed it. I'm not trying to say I want to live forever as a 30-something, but I really enjoyed being a 30-something. Not so much.
I think everyone did. I mean, everyone enjoys certain parts of their life, And some were better than others. I guess it depends on, what you were doing and who you were doing it with. You know what I mean?
I had a nice, comfy apartment. You guys can even look at that apartment on early streams that I had. Chimerian knows what I'm talking about, over in Deer Creek, Illinois. Huge apartment, $500 or less a month, and it had space. I could have people over, have parties, and it was just a really nice, out in the middle of nowhere place that I it was my probably happiest point, even though my prospects in life were really narrow. I didn't have good jobs there. I worked for two crappy corporations, Kroger and Walmart, and I'm not saying the people that worked there were bad. I'm not saying they were crappy just because they were crappy. No, uh, they were soulless jobs, and the people that I had around me, the fact that I still could like drive and see my grandparents alive, that's probably why the happy glasses are on when I think about that. But anyway, um, back to this film. Spoiler alert: this movie has a character, Wagyu. We've told you about him. He's the old man that's tagged up with these guys. Wagyu is not exactly a good cop. He's a bad cop.
He reminded me of a famous actor, and I can't remember what the actor's name is. I wish I could. God, I wish I remembered people's names. I can see his face, but he did a really good job portraying the. Because that little twist there, when you find out that he's the reason why everybody's there in the first place. And then when he shoots that one guy that helped him get all the way up to where he was at, that was a sad scene for me.
Yeah.
The first time that I felt like what a douchebag this guy was to kill that guy, set him up there and kill him. Because he just basically used him to get in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then he just killed him. Just shot him in the head like he was nothing. I just thought that was low. Very low.
Yeah, this is where you get to see Dagu. If Dagu is made of the same cloth as Rama and some of the other guys, Dagu's just a bad MF, round face.
Yeah, I think this might be the one scene where get to see. See, he had more brute force because he was a guy instead of just all martial arts stuff. He had like brute force.
He's a street fighter.
Yeah, street fighter. But plus, that's another thing that I really liked about the fights and stuff. They seemed fair and legitimate. Like that was a really good scene when he smashed his face into that concrete center block wall.
Yes.
But the fight that they seemed balanced because you didn't have anyone that was like overly huge. You know, all the other
series is like that. With Tony
threw into the file cabinet and he reacts by his back hurting really bad. You know, that's exactly what you think he would react like. I think this might be the one scene that guy's throat. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. There were so many deaths. Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
If in slow motion, that would have been freaking cool. Don't you think? That was one of the ones I was. Now what? Yeah, watch this one scene with the guy with the red around his shirt. Now watch him. Oh. When he butt. Yeah, so that's when he see how he reacted. Like, oh, you broke my back.
Oh, my back. Grab the knife.
He stabbed him with his own knife. That was so cool. Okay, here it comes. Watch this. See? How if you could see that whole scene where he grabs his arm and then he spins the guy around and cuts his throat. And it's just super fast. But see that?
Yes.
know the guy was going to turn.
He didn't. That was luck, or that's just good choreography, but it doesn't look like it was a natural thing.
No, it looked like it was set up that way, but at that time he didn't know he was a bad guy, so it was almost like um, when you see it again, was he trying to kill that one guy because he was bad or what? You know what I mean? But he didn't. By the way,
I
see
love
that?
that part. That's
Yeah,
that's for me. That's the end of that scene when Daegu smashes that guy's face.
yeah, and that seemed real. That seemed real. That's what I was saying. Some of these scenes, these death scenes, almost seem like a
Ah, shit. We lost the stream.
scene.
Hold on.
Very gruesome. I see why, because it says right on the paperwork. Take my paper right here. It
What
says
the? It says we're unavailable because of policy violations.
bloody.
No, we're not. Fair use, and we're don't even have the sound on. We're adding to it.
Yeah, but right here on the rating, it says rated R, strong, brutal, bloody violence. This definitely fits all of that. And drama, action, crime, sports, and fitness. That's what the genre is. And it's like, it's phenomenal. I mean, it fits all of that. Every single thing on that list, this movie fills it.
Yeah.
So it was definitely anyone I know that loves John Wick would love this movie. I don't see how anyone that would like John Wick. And there was lots of women. When I went and saw all the different John Wick movies, and we're all taking our clickers and clicking to see how many people die and stuff. That's pretty gruesome to be that way, but there was tons of women going with their men to go watch that movie. So I think they would like this movie too, because it was so action packed and the adrenaline. I mean, it's a huge adrenaline rush. From it's like a roller coaster. It just goes bam, 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 bam. It just goes on and on and on. Now there is a couple of small little areas where they are talking or building up the tension to get to the next scene, like the part with the machete through the wall and all that. But it's still your adrenaline doesn't lower enough to where when the next big fight scene comes in that you're not pumped right back up even quicker, because you didn't have a chance for it to really bottom out. You know what I mean? So I just thought it was really, really good.
Okay.
What policy violations
Uh,
about this stuff? So sorry.
it's okay.
Oh, because you stopped the movie?
Apparently I'm only supposed to show it in 10-second increments, and that's kind of crazy. Okay, we're back apparently. Yeah, YouTube gets upset that I showed a little bit of that fight scene, either YouTube or Sony, but they can get over it. It's called fair use.
Is if a few people watch this thing and we talk about it and we pump it up to where more people are eager to watch it and be pumped up for the new making of it, I don't see why they think that's bad.
Yeah, this movie really should not be remade. I would rather all of you just go and watch the regular version of it on HBO and find the sequel to it, because the sequel is amazing.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to watch a sequel now.
It starts 2 hours.
I thought this movie was very good, especially because of the fights. The overall movie, just for the script, I didn't think was very good. If I was supposed to judge it on that aspect, but the actual fight scenes and stuff were phenomenal. I mean, I just thought it was just so good. I mean, honestly, to me, the fight scenes in this show were as good as what I felt like I felt when I left after I watched the John Wick shows. I really felt like even some of the fight scenes were better than what I thought I saw when I went and saw 37 Ronin. which may sound bad to some people because I really love that movie too, because I like those movies. I like movies with this type of action in them. It's actual believable action, you know. I don't know. I'm really drawn to these types of movies when it comes to the fighting and believableness of it. And, I'm sorry. I think that's terrible if they're doing that because this is such a good movie, and I would want people to go see.
I definitely want people to check out this film. This
Yeah.
is one of the best movies that you could watch. I'm going to try to find my Rumble channel because channels.
So other channels will let you show it and not say anything about it, not get upset.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird because I have, a BitChute, a Odyssey account. You can scroll porn on Odyssey. They don't care. Make sure you tell people it's not for 18 and under. That's
I do now with my stupid stuff, and I don't show any nipples or anything like that. So it's like, but I still put, please don't, it's not for children. And then anything I have that I feel has got a dirty word or something in it, I put it 18 and older. And I'm not anything compared to OnlyFans or any of that stuff. So I don't know. I don't want young children things that are not appropriate. So. Yeah, I wouldn't want my young children to watch this movie. It's so gory and lifelike. It's worse than a video game. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it for young children, for sure. That's why the R rating was shocking when I was reading the information about it, because I'm like, I was shocked that I hadn't seen it before, because I really like this type of movie when it comes to the fighting and everything. And that I had never heard of it. I was surprised. Oh, here comes another naked Tinder coming up. Boy, you get YouTube and Russian bots all night long.
I wish they were Russian. I really do.
Oh, they're not? How do
They're
you know
not.
where they're from?
I have no idea where they're from, but I don't think they're anywhere near Russian bots. Because I know Russians, and they're atypically like really, like most Russians I know are really fun people. I don't know. I'm busy here putting in all my links for alternate content. Thank you, Shadzar and Mads Mama Bear, for blocking those people. We're going to continue. This stream is going to continue till the bitter end, and then I'm going to try to upload it on YouTube. I don't really care about YouTube. I don't. I mean, I've got porn bots subscribing to me right now. They've ruined themselves. I didn't say, hey, porno schlups, get in here. There's plenty of people that need your services. I didn't do that.
But the thing is, if somebody's watching the recording of it, they can't click on the links, right?
They probably won't. They should be able. I think they could click on this link here and go to my channels on alternate media. And I'm going to upload this to Odyssey, BitChute, and Rumble, because YouTube, I'm sorry. I have to have bits of the movie in so people understand what we're talking about. That's how you do it. That's when you have a movie review. You have Siskel and Ebert. You had At the Movies. You have guys like Chris. I can't think of Chris Stuckman.
Mm-hmm.
And they show you bits of these films. We're not doing anything different, and we're taking the sound out of it. So fuck off. We're doing it via the Fair Use Act. We're not showing people the whole movie. We're showing you things that you need to study. If you're going to look at filmography, if you're going to study cinematography, if you're going to look at how the DP would look at a scene and analyze it, you have to have that. And you're not going to get it from a 5-second clip.
No, you're not. And that is sad. But I'm glad that at least you can put them. You put the same video up on one of your other channels, and not have to go through this junk. Those are the ones I want you to post those links on Discord and stuff, so that people can click on those and go to your other channels, ones where you're not going to get crucified because you're trying to help make this movie popular.
Well,
So
and Shadgar's right. There's anime that's much worse, that's watchable on any network without any verification or paywall, and it's worse than what you'll see on the stream, except for the naked high definition XYZ. Stop jerking off. This is cheaper than Tinder.
Yes.
Don't really know how you can stop jerking off if I'm still going to a porn site. Last I knew, porn sites were still a self-investment. You're investing in yourself to get yourself off.
Just like Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters.
Yeah. Don't forget Widow Thumb, that poor stubby one.
Yeah. She's short, to the point.
But I really can't wait to hear what you think. And I'm not going to put it as your homework for the next time we do a movie that I suggest. But there is a sequel to this movie out. I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to be like, there's more fights. And the plot isn't the strong point. Gareth Evans is not known for his amazing Shakespearean prose, but he does pretty good. Like at the end, at the end of this movie, spoiler alert, again, as Tama is telling Wagyu, the grizzled police lieutenant, listen, you weren't here to take me out. I already knew you were coming. They told me you were coming. This has been planned for a long time. You aren't on the way up. You're on the way out. You guys, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to get back and get a promotion? You're going to get a pillow over your face while you sleep and shot in the middle of the night. You're
Yep.
done. And you just see the life fade from his eyes at that point.
Yeah,
he realizes it.
You're waiting, and you're almost like, yeah, he's going to take himself out because he's a coward, you know. And then when that doesn't work out, it's like, yep, you're kind of sad when the gun doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because you're wanting to
use that trigger. Click, 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 click.
But I was surprised when he shot the other guy.
Yeah, when he shoots Daegu.
Not expecting him to die. And he did really good at looking like he really got shot in the head.
Yes.
That whole scene was very intense too. I mean, I was really impressed on how well everyone did at dying in this movie. And I hear that very often.
You're going to be more impressed with the shotgun scene, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch the second movie. Watch the whole movie start to finish, and it is an amazing film with Rob Bottin caliber special effects. And somebody out there that's watching this is going to be like, oh, Bruce knows who Rob Bottin is? Yes, Rob Bottin, the retired special effects engineer, is the guy that's responsible for the movie The Thing from 1984, I believe, with John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many good scenes in that movie. Now, the very end prosthetic in the Thing movie, I know we're not talking about other movies, we shouldn't, but in the Thing, the very end monster that comes up out of the floorboards and Kurt Russell mutters "fuck you too" and throws dynamite at it and blows it up.
Yeah.
That big monster was actually constructed by Stan Winston, who came at the request of Rob Bottin because Rob Bottin had been sleeping on set to get all the special effects and prosthetics to work right. And he had been so so exhausted, and he was just beat up. I mean, he was suffering from dehydration and exhaustion. And when Stan Winston got there, he's like, "What all do you have to do?" And so he gave him the script and said, "This is what they want it to do. This is what they want it to look like." And Stan Winston sent him off to the hospital to get treated and recuperate, while Stan Winston did the final piece of action work for the thing.
Yeah.
And the rest of that movie is all Rob Bottin. Rob Bottin with sleep deprivation and lots of coffee. Coffee is a big part of my life. Anyway, I won't break into song dance about blackout coffee, but I would like to say that uh, Rob Bottin just he pushed himself so hard during the movie The Thing, and if you get a chance to watch that with the new knowledge that you have, that just understand the special effects guy there slept on set and he did all that, and that movie is well regarded as one of the best horror movies of all time because of the special effects, because of how all the little parts of it come to play. And then when you watch the Raid movies, when you watch all the blood squibs as the knives are dragged down to the thighs, to the patella, when you watch how everybody reacts whenever they're hit, and how various people will have blood spurts go off from their cheekbones because they're acting like they got shot in the cheek in point blank range while they're wrestling on the ground. Hey, follow me, minion. You have this level of professional amateurs. These guys are bringing their A game, and I don't think they really had a whole lot of a resume beforehand. This entire crew seemed like it was like just they had one movie, Marinatu, before this, and Marinatu Films is the company name now. But Gareth
Yeah.
Evans had mostly the same people he worked with before on this film, and then he used them again with a $5 million budget, which in Indonesia in 2014 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he had enough money in that to hire a second unit that could do a car chase scene. Probably one of the best ones I've ever seen. I would say it's on par with the stuff we saw in Fury Road.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you guys, if you like the movie The Raid, and if you haven't seen it before, message me. I'll help you out, because YouTube being so splutchy with their meat mitts and trying to block my channel. No, this is a bad stream. No, YouTube, you're being wrong here. This is a stream that you're blocking. I'm not. And now because of you, I'm going to upload it everywhere else and grow my presence elsewhere. And that's fine. Something's happened with your algorithm, and I'm growing at an exponential rate. You'll fix it, and I'll be back down in the 400s. I know that's coming. I don't know what's going on. This is all on you. But there's a bit of disobedience from YouTube's side, and they're upset because I shared movie clips that had no sound. We were using fair use doctrine, and I expect not to be monetized on this anyway. And I don't want to be monetized. Not on this. This is a movie review. If anything, I want more people to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
go ahead.
would, because especially if they were anyone that liked this type of fighting will really love this movie, because there's so much of it in this movie, and it's so well done that it's an adrenaline pumping movie, action packed, full of great action fights. I mean, it's just, and realistic, so the realism and the action is just phenomenal. I just don't see how anyone that's into this stuff would not like this movie. I mean, the rating on what was it, Rotten Tomatoes was like what, 87?
I
That's
can
high.
believe that.
That's really good. So I'm just saying, you go and read about it on Rotten Tomatoes. I think you'll want to watch it.
See,
I would,
I usually don't go to Rotten Tomatoes for most of my research. Not that they're bad, but I mean, some people will tell you, oh, they're bad. But that's just not one channel that I was initially introduced to, as like, get your movie news here.
Yeah, I don't
And
usually look at the news on there. I just go to see what the audience rated it because I would believe the people watching the movie like me more than I believe the
the
people that
critics,
say stuff. So that's what I look for. I always try to look at the audience score wherever whatever pops up, and that's more believable to me because if the audience really liked it, then you're probably going to get a way better portray of what you're looking for if it's your interest or not from what they have to say about it. So,
yeah,
and usually when my friends on Discord or YouTube or one of my other channels that I might be on say, "Oh, that movie was awful," and then I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go see it," and then I go see it, and then I'm like, "What? It really was terrible," you know. Or I can listen to a few other friends that aren't really into um, Discord, YouTube, and stuff, and they'll say, "Oh, I thought it was terrible. I thought it was sucked or whatever," and then I go see it later on with other people, and it was good. I thought it was good. So it's really a toss up anymore because it's the perception that people have when they go to the movie. So I try not to have anything. I try to keep my mind blank when I see the trailer, like the Jurassic Park one that's about to come out. I'm really hyped up for it because I loved Sam Neill and some of the other actors that were in the very first one, and I thought it was very good. So the fact they're going to have these people in it again to help like close it, I'm hoping. Um, I'm hoping it'll be really good. So it just depends on uh, what kind of movies you already like. Because I have four sisters, and they're always saying stuff like, "Oh, you need to go see this movie." My one sister, she was wanting me to see this movie about some kind of pants or something. I can't
the
remember.
Sisterhood of Traveling Pants.
Yeah, whatever that one, the sisterhood or whatever. And oh my god, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was terrible. So, just because my sister thinks it's good doesn't mean I'm going to like it. But it
You
just
gotta
depends.
you gotta check it out yourself. You gotta see what you enjoy, and that's kind of the entire thing. I mean, you can watch the clips on this video if you want, but I think you'd be better off if you actually spent the money and bought the DVD for hard copy's sake and installed it to your system or put it on your hard drive off of iTunes or what have you.
Yeah,
Because this movie is
I
worth it.
recommend watching it on the big screen if you can. Like a nice size, real nice TV with a good sound
Yes.
system. Because some of the scenes with the music and stuff are really, really good. Um, I just, I was blown away by a couple of them because as soon as the music kicked in, it was like, um, I don't know, it just was way more exciting to watch it because the movie, uh, it just like came to life or whatever type of thing with the sound, with the music. So I think people should go see it, rent it, or buy it, whatever they want to do, how they want to view it. But definitely,
There is a double feature package of the Raid and the Raid Part 2. It's supposed to be a trilogy from the outset. However, Gareth Evans, after producing it in 2013-14, he started getting busy with other projects because he starts getting noticed, and people are like, "Hey, I can help you pay your mortgage," and he's like, "Well, shit, I'll help you." And so he gets tasked with jobs, and he doesn't really have time to do part two to part three. And in 2015, he made it kind of known that we weren't going to get a third movie. Now, that could change because at the end of the second movie, one of the main characters, has an end where he goes off in the sunset. And there's other characters that are in the game that are in the crime business that are very much still alive, that are very much wondering what the fuck is going on here. Who's
mm-hmm.
going to take over the city of Jakarta? because there's a lot that's riding on the very end of the Raid Redemption that goes into the Raid Brandal Part 2. And you get to see it. It starts 2 hours after this movie ends, so the second movie starts. And then there is a period of time where like 5 years happens to take place. And once that happens, it's about a month where it goes into like that development afterwards. And the reason why, spoiler alert, Rama gets told in the second movie, we're going to put you on this continued undercover. You can't see your wife, can't talk to your wife. And Rama's like, ugh, we're going to put you in prison. You need to go in there and get the trust of some of the warlords' kids and protect them and get out and be on the inside. They'll
Yeah.
still be here waiting for you when it's all over. And so for 5 years, you have like one 30-minute portion of it that shows you the setup of what happens in prison. And then after that, for 5 years, really nothing happens. And he gets out and he's the best man or the leading fist per se. He's the heavy for the capo's son.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Just understand that. It's not a movie that you could watch with your kids. It is a very high action movie, but you want to watch it first without the kids there because some of the shit's very visceral.
Yeah.
And I would recommend this movie. Both Raid movies, I would say, don't have a 12-year-old or younger kid watch them. You do that, and what'll happen is you're going to have your kid trying stuff, and he's just going to get hauled off with the ambulance, and he's going to get hurt. I mean, boys are going to get hurt no matter what. But don't let your kid watch the Raid movies. Not until they're like 15, 16, 17. And then let them go to a karate school or a martial arts school and let the sensei toughen them up. Maybe your kid's into wrestling. Maybe he already knows pain and suffering and endurance. But I'm going to tell you that there's no need for you to try to show your kids these movies. These are not movies for kids. They're movies for you as adults. And I think that's where I'm going to let it lay. It both of these movies are easy 4 out of 5 stars. The Raid Redemption for me is a 5-star film. I love this movie. I love how it starts. I like how it ends. I like every little bit between. And I watch this film because but the reason is, Shadzar, is that you have the weapon play in this movie, and the special effects are done well enough where you think it's actually like, oh my God, how many people got injured here? How many people have no patella because it got sliced or hacked off?
Yeah.
Thing is, okay, only the crazies end up in steam tunnels like Tom Hanks. Okay, but still, I don't think this movie should be watched by a kid. I don't think that wasn't the goal of Gareth when he was directing it. I think the goal of Gareth was he wanted to entertain 20s and 30 somethings, 50-year-old people, 70-year-old people that love Bruce Lee movies. This is not a movie you show kids. This is a movie that has real good violence and special effects, but don't let your kids see it because kids do imitate things. And I'm going to say that the single mom out there have their hands really, they're like, they're in the worst shape because they're being told, let your kid use the internet, and then their kids do something. And a good single mom, like I'll just say Mad's Mama Bear, she's I'm pretty certain that her little bear is not going to try anything stupid. But that's a little girl too. Little girls are a lot more obedient than little boys. Little boys, if she was a boy mom, Mad's Mama Bear would have half a tuft of hair left on her fucking head. She'd be ripping her hair out like, I just told you, don't bathe the dog in the toilet. Wait, why are you jumping off the bookshelf? Why? Oh, you gave your brother the atomic elbow. Oh God, that. And every time, like, I knew people with 2-parent families when WWE was on, or WWF when I was growing up, they had to turn it off because the kids started getting injured. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
why I say that.
lots of things on TV that I don't think kids should watch, like that stupid Jackass TV show. I thought that was ever to put that on TV. I mean, the one part where when I watched this one thing on there, I just never watched it again after that because I was appalled that they would put something like that on TV that young kids could mimic. Is when they took the super glue and glued the dwarf to the other guy's chest. I thought that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen because you could kill somebody by ripping their skin off and then bleeding to death before they could get to the hospital or something dumb like that. Because to me, that was just dumb. And then me going to see the South Park the movie, and I'm standing in line to buy tickets, and there's lines and lines of people out there with little kids, thinking South Park is a kids' cartoon. I've never seen one episode of South Park that I would want a kid to watch, even though there's kids portraying, kids. You know,
Yes.
they're children in the show, but the kids are talking like grown-ups, adult language and adult interactions going
Yeah.
on. And I definitely do not recommend it. And then when they interviewed later on, when I watched the interview of the two guys that write South Park, and they were talking about that they kept getting in trouble trying to use the cutouts of the penises or whatever, the actual
Mm-hmm.
pictures of penises. So they ended up taking pictures of their penis to use in the movie so they wouldn't get in trouble using other people's penises. You never watched that
No, I
interview?
didn't.
Oh,
That's funny as hell, though.
could find it, but I thought it was hilarious because I loved that show. I thought South Park is a genius. Um, the whole concept of the stories behind it and everything were just like Futurama, though. I loved Futurama too. I thought it was great. Very well made, funny, adult cartoons, like the whole thing about death by snoo snoo and all that, it's not for kids,
No.
but it's definitely entertaining and funny. Just like this movie we watched is definitely not for kids, and it's entertaining, but it's in a totally different aspect of entertainment than a cartoon that makes you laugh at fake penises, stuff like that. But it's still entertaining, and it's for grown-ups, adult entertainment, not for children. And it's not porn. So, when I say adult entertainment, I mean for somebody that's over a certain age because of the content they're talking about, or you might see something that is for grown-ups. So I don't know. It's just my opinion.
And if you want to watch your kids, get inspired by the movie The Raid, I mean, please go ahead. But there's a part of me that says that wants to read about it on the Darwin Awards. Don't
Yeah,
do that. Really, don't do that.
definitely not. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was awesome. I thought it was. I definitely recommend it to anyone that's into the martial arts fighting.
Yes.
They will definitely like this movie a lot, and I would recommend that they watch it.
And I would recommend anybody that likes watching kinetic action films, anybody that's trying to study cinematography, anybody that's trying to look at a movie and if you're working on your own film and trying to figure out a fight scene for it, this movie should be required viewing because this does have some really interesting fights in it, and you can see how the cameras position themselves before the actors fly into action.
Yes, definitely. This movie definitely will help you if you want to get a different perspective on different camera angles, on different scenes, and how to do a close up that can be definitely realistic close ups. of a fight because they did really good in this movie. It's one of the best movies, I think, for hands close up, a hand away.
Yeah, yeah. This movie does things with its camera work that I hadn't seen yet, and I've seen Shogun Assassin. That's a fairly good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't rate it as high as The Raid, but I
No.
would say that's a very watchable movie, and you should probably own it because it's kind of one of those dying breeds of really enjoyable popcorn films that doesn't have much of an agenda. And it's like this movie here. There's no really agenda. They're not telling you to use pronouns. This is written back in 2011, 2010, and it's a movie that you can watch. You should watch it with your father if your dad got you into Hong Kong cinema. If you've got friends that are into it. Oh, they're there again, guys. Get them.
Boy, they love your streams.
They love my stream. I mean, I unblocked them so they could post in here just to get smashed by Mads and Shadzar. That's the only reason why they're here. Because usually I just look, I have bots the first time and never again. But nope, I got people.
But YouTube won't do anything about them.
No. They'll post porn bots and they get upset that I show stream clips of a movie that's 10 years old. I don't understand that. I'm needing clarification on this YouTube.
Well, definitely put in for it because you should win, I think. But I would put in for it.
Yeah, Leon the Professional was amazing. Shadzar is talking about a movie from 1994 with Jean. Sant Depardieu. It's one of those movies where you think, oh, the 15-year-old girl's now in her 40s.
Yeah. Well, everyone has to get older.
I'm still having a hard time with that. My parents are in their 70s. I'm really having an issue with it. Jean Reno, Gary Oldman, Natalie Portman, Danny Aiello, rest in peace, buddy. And wow, that's like the four main people that you see in this movie. And there's a couple famous folks that are down the list of Leon the Professional, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Regan plays her sister, and she was in The Fallen Faithful, Two Broke Girls, bunch of television work she did. She's a real pretty actress. She's the one that's working out in the start of the movie and beats her sister up because her little sister wants to watch Megatron on Transformers.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen that one either.
Janet, we're gonna. Yeah, I agree. And Valerian is a brand new classic. I think if you guys haven't watched Valerian, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like, wow, that's kind of like Star Wars. But that used to be a comic book way back in the day. And it's the comic book that George Lucas used to read. And he wanted to make a comic book like movie like the old Buster Crabbe movies and the Buster Crabbe and Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers vein. And between all that was heavy influence for Star Wars. Should all watch those.
Yeah. Well, everything, I think everything's influenced by something.
Yes.
Just getting other people to see the vision that you have in your head. That is that's when you realize that you got a hit because you're getting people to visualize something that you had in your head, and now they're seeing it in their head. And that's like huge, I think, to be able to accomplish that in your lifetime.
Cara Delevingne is kind of a sad thing for me. I think she's a cute actress, but she's
Yeah.
kind of hurt herself with all the stuff going on with Elon and Amber.
Oh, yeah.
Mads, that needs to be on your Twitter.
Do what?
I told Mads that needs to be on her Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Um, okay. What you've said a couple times that you really like this movie.
Yes, I really did.
Out of 5 stars, what would you be happy to have it?
I would definitely put a 4 for
Okay.
sure, because simply um, just for the fights, just for the fight scenes, for sure. I thought it was definitely worth it, especially if you are into that genre.
Yeah. Everybody, that wraps it up for tonight. If this stream is available on YouTube at a later point, it'll be a small miracle. I'm not going to edit a damn thing out. I don't edit. I don't believe in it. I hate editing. Only for the fact that, like, if you're rolling camera, you intend to roll camera. And I would never be a good movie director because they have to cram them into like 2-hour or 90-minute blocks. And I'm not that guy. But I will have this up on other streaming networks and you guys can watch it again. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. And Janet, what is your movie recommendation for next week?
Okay, I hope you're going to be happy with it. I'm pretty sure you've already seen it, but I think we should do Enemy Mine.
Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr. Okay.
Yeah, because we haven't done a sci-fi really. And to me, that's in the sci-fi genre, and I think it'd be really good. And it has limited characters in it. And I kind of like movies that have don't have a lot of characters in them, so we can focus on this movie we watched today or did today was filled with characters, hundreds of them. It seemed like they're mostly dead in the hallways, but it was still really a lot of characters involved in this movie. So that's the movie that I would like for us to watch, talk about.
All right.
A step in another direction. So, but thank you for joining us, and it was really fun. And I'm glad that that you chose me to do this with you with the movies. I've enjoyed it immensely.
I like talking about movies that I like or I don't like, but I'm willing to discuss them where they succeed and fail. I once I found out that you had a little bit of experience in that field, that it was pretty plain and obvious. I don't have anybody else in my wheelhouse that understands cinematography, casting, getting catering out there at the right times.
Mm-hmm.
Not many other people understand that, getting the costuming right. Not many people understand spacing and logistics for camera work, booms and gaffers.
It's funny when you see someone walking and they're drinking a cup of coffee, in a scene, and then you see them look at their watch, their cup turned sideways, and then they act like they take another drink, and you're like, the cup has nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So subtle things like that, I can't help but look for when I watch movies, because when you are in stuff like that and you see people do it while they're filming, you're like, oh my God, how can someone be so stupid? I mean, it just pops in your head that way. So it's just a natural thing. And then you have people that's what they do for a living on their channels, is just look for bloopers. Someone doing something, wearing tennis shoes when they're supposed to be dressed as knights, when there was no such thing as tennis shoes, or drinking out of a certain type of Coke can or something when it's a Western and they didn't have Coke back then. Things like that. It's just it shouldn't ever happen, but it does, and it's funny when it does happen. because most people don't notice it right off the bat. They notice it the second or third time they watch it. But like there's one scene in the TV show The Walking Dead where the one older man who'd lost his leg had got it cut off at the knee, and they do a scene. They're all sitting around the table talking, and then they do a scene like up in the tree, looking down at them, and you see everybody's legs when there's supposed to be one missing. So little dumb things like that most people think it's stupid or whatever, but when it comes to winning an award for editing or different things like that, that stuff does come into play because you can't have those type of mistakes and win an Academy Award for editing when you're leaving stuff like that in a movie. So it does matter in the long run. And to the person who wrote the script, you'd think that they would care that somebody ruined their movie because they wore something they weren't supposed to be wearing, things like that. And it helps people realize that some people do give a crap when it's their job to make sure something's in there or not in there. So that's why you have script supervisors and you have all these detailed positions for a reason, because you want the movie to be an overall success and believable. So you have to fill in all the little nooks and crannies with the elements that belong in the movie or TV series or whatever they're making. And I love that part of it, behind the scenes part of it.
Janet, thank you for being on today's stream with me. I'd like to thank the chat for hanging out, even when things got dark and they didn't let me broadcast for like 2 minutes and they're waiting for me to disconnect. We're not disconnecting. We're just going to upload this somewhere else. But chat, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Be sure to check out Janet's Instagram and TikTok channels. If you don't, let me get her Instagram up at least, because you guys should be subscribed to Janet. Janet is fun and hilarious. I'm sorry, you are.
Well, I am. I try to be entertaining. I'll just put it that way. In some respect. Not always good. But at least I'll be entertaining.
Also, if you want some new RPG news, Shadzar has a channel and has had a channel for a long time. And let me get that up here. He's been one of my mods. We don't always agree on things, but he's a hell of a mod. There we go.
Definitely, when you're overrun with bots, you need some good mods.
I tell you what, between him and Mads Mama Bear, I don't think they stood a chance tonight. I really don't. Let me. And this little lady here, don't let her fool you. She's a very, very sweet person, but don't get on her bad side. They don't call her Mama Bear for no reason at all. That's Mama Bear right there. You got Janet from Other Planet's Instagram account, Shadzar's YouTube channel, which has a ton of YouTube information on it, mainly about tabletop role-playing games, WotC focused. And then you've got Mads Mama Bear. And oh, thanks guys for coming in one last time. We didn't know if we'd be able to see you again before we say goodbye. Everybody, have a great night. Thank you so much for showing up. Janet, again, thank you.
Thank
I'm going to broadcast.